20th of March. I'll do a little bit of housekeeping first, if I may, John. Whilst we're not expecting one, in case of a fire alarm, please exit the doors and the building and make your way to the far end of the car park. I would also ask all in the chamber to please turn off their mobile or put it on silent, because I'm sure we don't want any interruptions. Councillor Birch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could I, under Chapter 3, Meeting Procedure Rules, Part 14.1c, on page 59 of the Constitution, request to be put a motion to change the order of business in the agenda to bring forward the urgent notice on motion that is being proposed by Councillor Penfold and seconded by Councillor Presswell. I believe that Councillor Penfold will second my proposal.
Seconded. Yeah. Are we all in favour of promoting that one up, please?
That's clearly carried. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor. Right. Minutes. Darryl, could you give apologies, please?
Sorry, Chair. It's my understanding we're going to take that motion now.
Sorry.
So,
it looks as if we go straight into that motion now.
Chair, can I declare an interest on that item, please?
Yes, you may.
And there may be others.
Could you?
I'm a working volunteer with the South Devon Railway, which has been involved in the route that's being discussed. I will abstain from debating or voting on that issue.
Councillor Penfold, would you like to put your motion forward, please?
Okay, the first thing I'd like to do, because my seconder is not here, I'd like to change my seconder to Councillor Hodgson, please.
Councillor Hodgson seconds that.
Accepted. Okay, my 3 minutes don't start yet, it's okay. I wish to move the following motion. The Council supports the decision by DCC to include the Totnes to Newton Abbot via Little Hempston all-access path within its priority list of the LC WIP at their Cabinet meeting on March the 12th, 2025. The route is also recognised within the emerging LC WIP work undertaken by South Hams District Council, and as such, the Council will look to support, where appropriate, DCC and the community to further ensure its aims to see the route established.
Thank you. Councillor Hodgson, would you like to second that motion?
I second that, thank you, Chair, and I will hold my reserve my right to speak till the end of the debate.
Thank you very much. I think we now go into. Oh yes. Sorry.
Okay. Councillor Hodgson and I wish to thank the Chairman for allowing the aforementioned motion to be put before today's Council, and we want to thank the residents who've taken the time to attend today. The Little Hempston to Totnes route is the only missing link in the NC Route 2 between Dover in Kent and St Austell in Cornwall, a stretch of 378 miles. But most importantly for the residents, and our residents, and in particular Little Hempston, Gatcombe, Totnes and neighbours Broadhempston, it is the missing 1 mile of a safe connection to and from Totnes over the River Dart. Currently, there is no safe means of travelling to and from Totnes from the northern settlements apart from using motorised vehicles. A hard-won window has recently opened up where creating the path is within reach. The story of this route began over 20 years ago when a family with two young children, found themselves unable, because of medical reasons, to drive their children to and from school. They needed a safe and direct route to Totnes from Little Hempston. It was only due to the largesse of the landowners at the time that they were allowed to use the Hempstead Road and Boulevards pedestrian bridge, the proposed route, but when that ended, it meant children and adults had to walk along the incredibly busy and dangerous A381 Newton Abbot Road. The proposed route has never been forgotten. 2016, a petition of 4,000 signatures was collated. It was spoken about at a selection committee meeting in Parliament in 2018, and there have been regular activist days supporting the route. Around 2 years ago, South West Water applied for planning a solar panel array to occupy the land the bike path would travel over. It focused residents' mind on how the bike path and solar array could coexist. This was supported by over 400 comments, which you've got in front of you, on the planning portal, all requesting the cycle route to be included in the planning proposal. Okay. 3 MPs, a multitude of cross-party councillors and campaigners have worked to overcome obstacles that prevented opening up the path. Because of this, recently, several historical deadlocks have been resolved. South Devon Railway has now offered to share the access to the pedestrian bridge. Devon County Council have included it in their LC whip, an arrangement South West Water required before they were prepared to move forward with the path, which also meant the third and final landowner would agree to the route. South West Water raised concern about the sharing of the lane with cyclists and pedestrians. DCC conducted a highway safety audit and concluded there is no reason why the lane could not be used as a shared multi-use route. And feasibility studies by DCC and John Grimshaw, formerly of Sustrans, now Greenways and Cycle Routes, has identified this route as the best and safest route. And crucially, the community requires no CAPAX grant funding to support this route. South West Water, as an organisation within our community, holds the power to be a good neighbour and work with the community to resolve this missing link. Today, can we as a council help DCC and the community deliver this project by showing our united support for this motion?
Thank you very much. And you want to reserve the right to speak later?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Birch.
Oh, thank you. As one of the portfolio holders responsible for the production of this council's LC whip, and perhaps for the benefit of those who are not too certain as to what LC whip means, it means the local cycle and walking infrastructure programme. The position is, as far as this council is concerned, we are in the process of preparing an LC whip report, and this is in the course of being prepared. And I'm pleased to report that this report will include a recommendation to include the Totnes to Newton Abbot route, along with other routes. The current situation is that the report is in the course of preparation, and the document as it stands at the moment runs to over 300 pages. And you'll be pleased to hear that it is currently being condensed into a manageable report that will eventually go before the Executive Committee for approval. Prior to that, there will be a members' briefing to ensure that all members are fully acquainted with the proposals going forward. Can I say that as one of the portfolio holders, I am very supportive of the route that is the subject of this motion, and I'm really pleased that Devon County Council have included this route in its LC whip. Now, the route is between Totnes and Newton Abbot and passes through Little Hempstead, but has also been identified, as I mentioned a moment ago, as a route that should be included in the South Hams LC whip. And in preparing the South Hams LC whip, we went out to consultation, and during that consultation, we received a lot of support for this. So the reason why this is before you today as an urgent motion is that there are strategic reasons why this council needs to make its voice heard at this stage, and to a certain extent support the move being taken by Devon County Council. So I do hope that all members will support this motion. It is an important link and provides opportunities not only for cyclists but also walkers. So I do hope all members support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. But before I move on, I got a statement that I wish to read from Councillor Hawkins, who apologises because he can't be here because he's at county today. And it goes, can I please ask councillors to support Councillor Penfold's motion concerning the proposed cycle pedestrian link between Totnes and Little Hempstead. This has been a very long-running aspiration of both communities and will provide a safe, sustainable link. We now have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to achieve it. Your support will be greatly help ensure it becomes reality. Thank you. Councillor Rake.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to thank Councillors Penfold and Hodgson and previously Presswell for bringing this before us. I think it's incredibly important and I'd like to offer my wholehearted support to it. It's gratifying. I've obviously only just had these umpteen pages of comments on the planning application. It's gratifying to see how many of them support the solar array and are saying yes and rather than no but, and I think that shows the commitment of people to a holistic approach to sustainability, whether that be through energy generation, more sustainable modes of travel and transport, that they can all be joined together, and indeed, as Councillor Penfold said, that we can finally complete the link from here to Dover, where I grew up. So it's about time. It's taken far too long. I wholeheartedly support this. And lastly, I'd like to thank Councillor Birch for his comments, and I hope that if, as I suspect it will, this motion receives our support, that the executive and officers strain every sinew and do everything in their power to actually bring this to fruition, and I'm sure they will.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to participate in the debate? No. Right, I'll go back to Councillor Penfold. Oh, sorry, Councillor.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you for hearing this early today. And I think it's really good to welcome so many members of the public who've taken the trouble to come. And I think this gives even a slight indication of the volume of support there is for having these cycle routes. I want to reassure all members here that this coming forward as it has, although we know it wasn't one of the top priorities identified on the LC whip for South Hams, the reason was with the criteria looked at some of the opportunities at the time, and what has happened dramatically to affect this has been the opening up of South Devon Railway to allowing the bridge to be used, and of course what's brought it into sharp focus is this planning application that we need to make sure doesn't change the opportunities or fetter the opportunity for this cycle route to go ahead as and when we're ready to do so. But I think it also shows that it's how we need to be a fleet of foot sometimes. And I think local authorities often are accused of really dragging it. And then by the time we get something, everybody's even forgotten they even wanted it. This has been going on for a long, long time. The enthusiasm has always been there. But what I wanted to also just commend was the work that's gone on at the local level particularly in the last few months, from local people, not least of which is Nikki Reisker, who has worked tirelessly to make sure that all the bits that need to be in place are in place. And that's what gave Devon County Council last week the confidence to say this is okay, we can go ahead. It's got safety audits, it's got this, it's got that, and there's still work ongoing from Devon County Council. And I think, to be frank, what I noticed at that meeting, it was a cabinet meeting where I was able to sort of speak on it, was that there's a sense of relief and sort of almost joy when people can actually say yes to something that's really positive, that the community is saying we're going to make sure we take this forward too. So I just want to really reassure all fellow members here that this might be feeling like in some ways it's jumping forward, but I would be more than happy to stand up and support any of those LC WIP paths that have been identified and supported by their local communities and ward members, that we would want to see a network forming. Hopefully this is the beginning of many more successful cycle paths coming forward. So absolutely support it, and I hope everybody can make this today unanimous support for this cycle route. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, Councillor Penfold. Councillor Penfold, would you like to call?
Yeah, thanks. So I want to take a moment to thank the many excellent Southampton District officers who over the months and years have shown great patience answering questions and supporting the process whenever they've been asked and wherever they can. I want to point out the residents and campaigners who are the true experts here, who have invested much time and effort overcoming the many obstacles preventing supporting the establishment of this route, only then to be presented with new hurdles which they stoically dismantle. We as a council have a time-sensitive opportunity to support a collaboration that would be mutually beneficial. South West Water, South Devon Railway and our community could be an example of how private businesses, along with charities, public groups and motivated residents, can be encouraged to enrich our neighbourhood and support safe, clean travel. Our community has spoken time and time again about what it wants and what it needs, and that is this path. And I truly believe it's one of those projects that once it's completed, people will say, why didn't we support it ages ago? It makes perfect sense. Along with support from many parish councillors, town councillors, district councillors, county councillors, MPs, I think it's impactful to hear the names of the many organisations who are officially supporting the establishment of this bike path. We've got Active Travel England, Active Devon, Cycle South Dartmoor, Dart Valley Cycle Trail, Dartington House Trust, Free Trike, that's a charity that creates rides for dementia and loneliness, Friends of South Hams, Friends of the Dart, Greenways and Cycle Routes, Mid Devon Cycling, PL21 Transition Initiative, Plymouth Cycling Campaign Group, Right to Rome, Safe Sustainable Travel Today, Slow Ways, Stoke Gable to Totnes Cycle Path, Sustainable South Hams, Sus Strands, Totnes Town Council Travel and Transport Committee and the Ramblers Association. I also, and I didn't print it out, Nikki, for
Please
everyone.
don't read all that.
This was done some time ago, but this was from all the local schools in support of the bike path. So loads of heads and children have written, and this is a booklet with that, with a recording there. Now, remember when I said the story began 20 years ago? Well, actually, in fact, the story started way before then. This morning, a very cherished member of our community told me that she'd supported the idea of a cycleway across the Dart 42 years ago, and she now hopes to see it happen in time for her to use it. Don't we as a council want to be part of that story?
Thank you very much, Councillor. Yes, very many true words there. I think now we can move on to Darryl, the substantial motion.
Thank you, Chair. So members, all in favour of the substantive motion as per the screens, please show.
That motion is obviously passed.
25 in favour with Councillor Panel's abstention, and therefore carried. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. He declared an interest, that's the only reason.
I've got an interest.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, people, for coming. And you can stay, but I wouldn't if I were you. But
If you'll excuse me, Chair, I'm going to county now.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm going to county.
Thank you for all your public service. It's appreciated.
Minutes now.
Oh yeah, we got to go back and start again now.
Minutes next.
Right, thank you very much, everyone. We move on now back to the agenda proper, and perhaps the chairman won't be quite so confused now. So we set out, first item 1, minutes of approval for the true and correct record of council on the 13th of February. Can I have a proposer for that, please? Yeah. All in favour of that one, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's carried without the applause, Chair.
Item 2, that's been dealt with. So that was just the urgent business on the motion that we've just heard. Item 3, exemption of information. There's no need for me to divide the agenda. There's nothing there. I will invite declarations of interest, please, pecuniary and any other interest. Councillor Pennell.
Yeah, just to say I'm an ordinary member of English, or life member of English Heritage. I don't think that actually needs me to declare an interest, but I think it's safer to do so, and I won't vote on this issue.
Thank you. Business brought forward by the chairman. I don't think it was any business is always going to bring forward. So we will deal with that later on. There will be some. So that deals with that one. We move on now, and we move into public question times. And there is one public question, and that's from Mr. Grocott, and he is in attendance. So I would invite you to read your question, please, Mr. Grocott. Yeah, I think you better.
Oh, thank you. Is it on? Yeah. I feel this just a bit of an anticlimax after what I've just experienced. It's dimmed my enthusiasm. Right, with reference to the article in the Totnes Times, 13th of March, concerning the purchase of a further 3 properties at Holywell Meadow in St Anne's Chapel. When will these properties be purchased? What will be the total and how, sorry, that should be total, yeah, just say total cost. And how will any additional funding in excess of the £300,000 from Second Homes Council tax be secured?
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan, I think you're going to answer that one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grocott, and I, for one, would like to applaud you for your continuing interest in affairs here at South Hams District Council and for your interesting questions that you ask on behalf of the public. So well done, and thank you very much for that. In answer to your question, just to put it in context, we are proposing to use the South Hams District Council share of the Second Homes Council tax monies of just over £600,000 to combat our housing crisis. And we could, I have to say, do even more if Devon County Council used its much larger share, around £15 million, I gather, of their Second Homes Council tax premium to plough into affordable housing projects. I understand that isn't the case. The money that they have gleaned will be used for other projects. It's disappointing. So, having said that, to go into the detail of this particular project, so we're using around half of that share of that £600,000, so therefore the £300,000 that's mentioned in the question, to effectively buy 3 of the homes at St Anne's Chapel, which had originally been intended for open market houses, and to retain them for social housing, essentially. So they're added to the 8 which we have on site for rented for council rent, and to add a further 3 in an area of acute housing need with a high number of second homes. So I feel that's an appropriate thing to be doing. So they'll be converted now to rentals. Just to break down the figures, we have that £300,000 I mentioned. We add to that just over £162,000 from housing capital budgets, £138,000 from housing earmarked reserves at South Hams Council as well. We hope to get £300,000 of grant from Homes England, and we also intend to borrow £500,000 via the Public Works Loan Board, and we intend to get a return from the rental. So that should total £1.4 million, and that is the business case. The timescale, we will be purchasing the homes once we know the outcome of that Homes England grant application, and I'm told we do expect to hear the outcome very soon. So hopefully that will reassure you. And just to add that you said you read the news in the local paper. It was in all the local papers in the district, the Totnes Times and all the others, across the BBC. So we have been publicising this and other housing projects that we do as much as we can. If you can get online, there is a detail of the minutes of the report to the executive on March the 6th. You can see that on the council's website as well if you want some to look at more detail. The business case is documented there at 2.10, 2.11 of that report. obviously also going outside the online sphere, our councillors here do go to their town and parish council meetings, and they do relay to their local parishes what we're doing on this and other areas as well. So just to reassure you, we are trying to communicate what we do to the public. Thanks again for your question, Mr. Grocock.
Thank you very much, Councillor Callaghan. Thank you for your question, Mr. Grocock. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Right, we'll move on now. Devolution and local government reorganisation. Item 7. Councillor Brazil, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. We've discussed this before informally. This is the formal part of this process that we're going through. I hope you will have all had circulated the plan. It's still draft at this stage that needs to be submitted tomorrow, but it runs pretty much along the lines that we've talked about before, and that is that this council, along with 7 of the 8 district councils within Devon, have agreed a 145, which is Plymouth as is. The 4 is West Devon, South Hams, Teignbridge and Torbay, and the 5 being Exeter, East Devon, North Devon, Mid Devon and Torridge. Those are the 3 unitary solution that we see best for Devon. It's not to say that we're not saying at any stage that this is the solution to particularly the financial problems that we have here in Devon. The latest financial settlement, and indeed, you know, with the health the settlement for the health service in Devon as well, means that we are seriously compromised in respect of financial sustainability within Devon, and this will not solve it. But we think this is the best solution that delivers for the whole of Devon. Not just for individual areas or individual cities within Devon, but for the whole of Devon and for all of Devon's residents. You've got that report. If you do have any queries about that, please do ask now or myself. As you will see, I will be sending that report in consultation with Andy as the chief exec and Nikki as leader of the main opposition group. That will go forward to the minister tomorrow, and that is it's very much an interim stage at this point, and we will be doing much work between now and November, when a much more detailed business case will be put forward as to why we think this is the best solution. We've seen from lots of other authorities the various solutions that have come forward. I think we're up to about 11. The government thought we were going to come up with 1. That was wishful thinking on their part, I think. But we've got, I think that this solution is, as I say, is the one solution that actually takes into account all of Devon and is not just for the good of a particular area, but reflects the diversity across Devon. And I hope that you can support it and the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We did have a briefing on this, so if there is any other questions, have anybody got any questions on Councillor Brazil's report? No question.
I'll propose that. So is there a seconder?
I'll second.
Yeah, and Councillor Panel seconded that. Debate? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I'd like to propose an addition to the recommendation, and I wonder if Mr. White could put this on the screen. So that's my proposed amendment, and Councillor Abbott has agreed to second. And presumably he can speak for himself.
Can in a minute.
Well, I think the words speak for themselves, but yes, I am seconding this motion, this amendment.
Thank you very much.
So the amendment or addition is as per the screens, Chair. So we are following two routes in effect. Route A would be if Councillors Brazil and panel, as the original proposer and seconder, were willing to accept that, it would fall within the substantive motion. If they're not, we'll then be in the realms of debating this as an amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
So,
Councillor Brazil?
yeah, no, I'm very happy to accept that into the substantive motion.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Therefore, Chair, we are debating the substantive motion in two parts in effect, with part one as per the original report, and that in red font on the screen will now be a new part two. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anyone wish to start the debate on this? Yes, Councillor Hancock.
I'd like to thank Councillor Birch for the amendment to the motion. I think it's an important point that is being made. Having read the Plymouth City Council's proposal on local government reorganisation, I was quite frankly deeply concerned with some of what it had to say. In particular, I noted that it said that they estimate savings of between £7 and £17 million per year by incorporating what I do believe is around 40% of the population of South Hams. I'm sure I don't need to tell anybody in this room that our budget is around 14 million. And so I'd quite like to understand how Plymouth City Council anticipate making 17 million of savings from that budget. And I would hope that members from this council who are having conversations with Plymouth City Council in the weeks and months ahead, particularly from those 13 parishes, that they raise these concerns, and that both publicly and privately, because that 17 million of savings potentially will only come on the back of services delivered to residents of South Hams currently, and it is deeply concerning.
Thank you. Councillor Birch.
Yeah. Yes, I propose the amendment, which I thank Councillor Brazil, Councillor Panel for accepting, and so it's incorporated within the recommendation that is before us. This clearly is a land grab on the part of Plymouth City Council. I think we as a council should make it quite clear, not only to Plymouth, but all those who are concerned with reorganisation, that we are certainly opposed to this, and that it will be to the detriment of our residents who live in the 13 parishes that are the subject of this land grab. And I thank Councillor Hancock for looking into this, and to see that it could certainly be to the financial disadvantage of our council taxpayers. That is only one aspect of the disadvantages that will result from this move by Plymouth City Council. There are many more. Plymouth City Council is very urban, and it has no affinity with those rural parts of South Hams, together with the ambitions and aspirations of Ivybridge. So I think it is important that we make our voice known, and that is why that's included within the recommendation. And therefore I hope that it will be wholly supported by this council.
Thank you, Councillor Birch. Is there any other?
Yeah, whilst I wholly understand why we've had the amendment, I'm a little bit concerned because obviously, because my residents in my wards are right on the boundary, a lot of them will use the Plymouth City Council, Plymouth Town Centre, Plymouth Schools even, just because of where they're positioned. And it just concerns me that we, at the moment, we don't have their thoughts on this, because obviously we're still very early. So, yeah, that's all I really want to say.
Yes, Councillor Hopwood.
Thank you, Chairman. So I welcome the recommendation and I welcome the amendment, but again, with a caveat to it that we haven't actually consulted with our residents. We have no idea. Plymouth has not consulted. In fact, Plymouth has not consulted with the ward members that will be affected. Plymouth City Council have consulted with our parish councils, although it just makes no sense that they haven't come to the affected ward members. Councillor Abbott, myself, Councillor Nix, Councillor Carson, Councillor Thomas, etc., Councillor Oram, I could go on. They have not come to us as district councillors. I find it really bizarre that they thought that it was the right route to go to our parish councils first. Our parish councils, unfortunately, don't have the backup that we have of officers to actually inform us and keep us informed of decisions. And I think I'm glad that Southam's actually met with members of the parish clerks and chairs of the parish councils before Plymouth did, so they could give them a background. Else parish councils would have had hardly any information on this, and that's not a good thing. I worry, hear what's been said about the 17 million savings made by Plymouth City Council. The trouble is that Plymouth City have no idea have no experience of delivering rural services. They don't know how hard it is to operate a waste and recycling collection within a rural community where you may have two farms a mile apart. They have no idea about interacting with the farming community. Indeed, I don't think Plymouth City Council has a farm within the Plymouth boundary that I can think of. I may be wrong. They do. But the amount we have in agricultural and in farming, our communities, we as a council are used to dealing with the rural communities, and Plymouth City Council just are not on the scale that we deal with them. I could go on and on, but all I ask is I have at long last, after quite a while, managed to secure a meeting with Councillor Evans in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll go and speak to him. He didn't come to us. We had to go to him. I think it's a shame because I would like us all to be joined up, and I'd like us all, I think if there'd been better communication and we hadn't all read in the paper that Plymouth were including 13 parishes, and let's face it, that's how we found out. We picked up a paper or went online, and I read it through Plymouth Live, that 13 parishes on the boundary of Plymouth were going to be included. I'd already resigned myself to the fact that Woolwell and Roborough were going to be included, but I was absolutely gobsmacked when I saw, well, especially Ivy Bridge and Wembury, why the communication is poor. And if the communication hadn't been so poor, and if we'd been told about it before, maybe we could have come to a better decision, and we could have come to a better understanding of what the district council would like and what Plymouth City Council would like. Even the opposition in Plymouth, the Conservative left opposition, I have no qualms about saying they haven't asked us as Conservative members what our views are. No one has come to any of us, and I think that's shameful. And I just hope that on the back of all this, it can stop and we can all work together. One, for a better outcome for the whole of South Hams, and another for an outcome for those who it would make more sense went in with Plymouth. Like Councillor Nick said, Plymouth City or the residents of Woolwell do use all the services of Plymouth. We don't really use the services of the South Hams. The only services we use at the South Hams, unfortunately, outside of bin collection and road sweeping, etc., are the tips. Well, I personally would love to use a Plymouth tip because it's only a quarter of an hour down the road, whereas an Ivy Bridge is 11 miles away. But that doesn't make me want to go into Plymouth. It just makes me think with a strategic head-on, it makes more sense for the likes of Woolwell and Roborough to go into Plymouth. I'm not saying I want to, but it makes more sense. And I just think let's all get together, let's work together and see if we can get a better outcome. But let's face it, at the end of the day, none of us are going to have any say anyway. We're just going to be told what to do.
Thank you, Councillor. Right, Councillor Bonham.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate that. I think the first thing to say is that there's very good progress, it seems to me, and well done to the leader and the Chief Executive and others for working on this proposal. I think it seems to me we don't have much choice. We have to go down the route of putting forward the best option in the local government reorganisation. And we can probably see that having one mega council across all of Devon is probably not going to deliver the services and the quality that our residents expect. And so this alternative 154 seems to be a much better approach. And it's good to note that Devon and Torbay are including this proposal in the options that they're putting forward to government. So I do hope it builds momentum and acceptance across the whole of the county and amongst our South Hams residents. And I'd like to see it ideally as a preferred option for the whole of the county. Having said all that, I think we need to be honest with members of the public that the whole local government reorganisation is likely to lead to a number of unintended and negative consequences. We've already heard about the unrealistic savings expectations. I think their savings figures from government are also unrealistic, and the cost of reorganisation itself is going to be high and needs to be factored in. So in the detailed plans that we put forward, I hope that we can highlight those and also touch on the other negative aspects of this, in the fact that there'll be a reduction in the democratic representation. Maybe residents don't really care too much about who runs their councils or what the structure of local authorities is, but they will care if their costs go up and if their services are reduced. And we should be honest in recognising and saying to our residents, those things are likely to happen, unfortunately, as a result of this whole reorganisation. But again, I do believe that we should be on a good path to trying to take the best approach that's possible in a bad situation. Thank you.
Very much. Councillor Oram.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Firstly, I'd like to say that I completely support the delegating authority to the leader, the Chief Exec and Councillor Hopwood. I know they will all do a great job at fighting for the interest of the district and our residents. But I'm also deeply concerned that Plymouth are overstretching their position by publishing this plan to take large amounts of the rural South Hams into Plymouth Super Council. What business does Plymouth have pushing so far out? What expertise do they have to run rural services, and what experience do they have dealing with the unique challenges faced by our rural communities? This Plymouth plan should be robustly resisted for the sake of our residents, but I acknowledge that we won't be able to retain all of our district, areas of which that make strategic sense to be a part of Plymouth, but that is just the nature of negotiation. Having said that, I know I speak for other councillors affected by this plan, who, as previously mentioned, have not been consulted, are united in refusing this move by Plymouth, and we will all appreciate the support of the wider council via this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got one more, which is Councillor Abbott, I believe.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear the way this debate is going, and it has been very difficult to think that there could be a proper consultation in such a short time period and with such vague guidelines currently available. So that so far we're all trying our best in a murky situation. The boundaries that wherever they occur will always be slightly artificial. What worries me most is that there will be a deficit in the democratic process. We in the South Hams have parishes and town councils, and in Plymouth they deparished many years ago, so that the area of Plymouth, which is equivalent to one of our parishes, just about, I would say, looking at this map, Bickley would be of similar area, is covered by the council and with a centralised discussion point, whereas we have the ability to feed up from our parish and town councils with whom we meet on a monthly basis at district level and continue that democratic process. And we read both the good and the challenging from our residents on social media. And that helps to inform our opinion. We meet them on the streets, it informs our opinion. And this is unlikely to happen with so few representatives and not down at ground level. It will be, I think, a real shame should we be taken over by Plymouth and we were to be deparished. And why would they operate two systems? So I would encourage you to support this recommendation. I hope we can all vote for it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Abbott. Before we close it, I'll take one more question, or input, sorry, not a question, from... Yeah, okay, yes, please. Councillor Ray.
Thank you. I'll be supporting this motion. I wanted to point out that it's good to see that within the plan we have reference to health and social care integration. I note that obviously the recent announcements about the NHS England being cut back, the implications on the budget for the Integrated Care Board, and also that our trusts will have an impact. What I would not like to see are gaps in our adult social care, gaps in our mental health care, gaps in dentistry and other services that are so essential to our residents. What we will need going forward is a clear roadmap, priorities, and we must be aware of the consequences of any delays in these services or disruption on the inequalities for our residents. So I commend the current health and social care integration issues that are raised in the plan.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wright. I don't think anybody could argue with his sentiments. Councillor Carson.
Can I just ask, are we voting with the recommendation and can we separate them out?
Chair,
the amendment, you
yeah.
mean, from... Yes.
Chairman, can I just, because I take on board exactly what Alison and probably Julie are concerned about here, is that there will be members of those parishes that actually would want to go into Plymouth, and I don't think we should be standing in their way if that is their choice. So I wonder if we could put something at the end of it that says that we will continue to consult with our parish and town councils, just so that if for example, and I you know, I just throw it out there, that Wembury decides that it wants to go in with Plymouth, then I don't think we should stand in their way. But that hopefully we can put some wording at just the end, like we will continue to consult with our parishes and towns, so that would allay your fears, which I understand are real. You know, I get that. And we don't want to dictate, just as we don't want Plymouth to dictate to us or government to dictate to us. We shouldn't dictate to our parishes about where they should go or where they feel their future lies. So I'm sensitive to that. So I'd like to just add on, we will continue to consider. Yeah, it's done there. So hopefully that will allay your fears to a certain extent.
Sorry, Chairman, just tagged on to that because I think that's a really good point, because we, as I said earlier on, we have no idea how residents feel about this because no one has actually consulted with them yet. Could we tag on to that just to say that we welcome the opportunity for consultation with residents?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Well, no, it doesn't. It says local town and parish councils.
All right, residents. And residents.
Yes, please, thank you.
You happy with that one?
Yeah, I'm happy.
I think. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry. Can I suggest we add a word to consult with?
Well, okay, hang on just a second, because I've got Councillor Cano wants to. He had his name down there a minute.
Thank you. A previous speaker said we didn't know what Plymouth wants. Well, we do, because they want to take all over the 13 parishes. I can understand a small addition to Plymouth's boundaries. I'm old enough to remember the reorganisation of 1974 when they took in Plimpton and Plymstock. and obviously an adjustment to take in the urban fringe around Plymouth makes sense. But it doesn't make sense to expand into the 13 parishes, taking in parts of Dartmoor like Shawmore to Ugborough Moor and Harford Moor. I live in South Brent. The Plymouth boundary would be about 500 metres from my front door. If I drove from my house to Follerton, I would be driving through Plymouth to get here, because the road from the A38 to Avonwick would be in Ermington Parish and therefore would be in Plymouth, and that just does not make any sense to me whatsoever. Some parts of the area they want to take over are deeply rural, have long traditions, and I agree that I don't think Plymouth is capable of understanding the needs of a rural area such as this, and I think we need to resist that.
Thank you. Councillor Steele, you wanted to...
Yes, just wondering if we could add a word down, consult with and inform its town parishes and residents. You know, we need to keep them on board, give them the message of why we're doing what we're doing. So, you know, more comms would be great that we can share on the plan and what we're doing. Thank you.
Julian?
Look, I'm happy with consult, and I assume within that it means that we have an open discussion that is two-way. Because I think if we suddenly start informing, it's just slightly pejorative, like we're telling you, and I don't want that to be. I want it to be a genuine consultation, that we hear what they've got to say, what we've got to say, and then they will make up their own minds, and we will honour what their decision is in that sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So sorry about that, Matt, but I feel otherwise we're going to fiddle around with it too much. Chair, I don't know if anyone else wants to speak, or if I could just... Oh, wait, then Nikki does.
With your permission, Chairman, I've just been speaking with my colleagues here, and we all say that what we don't want is to have an aggressive tone when presenting this, and we feel that the word land grab is slightly... It's the wrong tone, and we're not happy with the word land grab. It's a small point, but I watched the Plymouth City Council debate online and didn't like the tone of it. And I feel with those words in it, we're mimicking the tone of their debate. So I don't see it as a land grab. I have to be honest with you. It just doesn't fit. Those words don't fit with what's happening. You may or may not disagree with me, but we were just wondering if you would consider taking them out.
John, any...
This is our position. We are confirming the position that has been taken by this council, and Julian has given the lead to this council, and he spoke for this council, and he made it quite clear that this is a land grab. Now, the fact of the matter is, if we start pussyfooting about and being weak and pathetic, then we're going to be seen to be a pushover. That is the expression that has been reported throughout the media. And why should we start diluting that down and give the impression that we're weakening? No, let's keep it as that, because that's what it is. We weren't consulted by Plymouth. I mean, the fact of the matter is that this is a potential, it is a land grab, and why do we pussyfoot about? Let's speak the words that it means.
Thank you. I think actually most of the points have been made very, very strongly by this council, right across the board. So, Julian, would you like to now bring the debate to a close?
Yeah, no, thank you, Dan, and thank you for everyone involved. And I hear what you say about it, and I think you're absolutely right that we do want to be. I mean, it would be a bit hypocritical of me, having said it on local television, that I was opposed to this land grab. But I hear what you're saying. But I hope you'll accept that this is said. And I think, as John says, that there is a sense of disappointment at the way that this has been thrust upon us by Plymouth. And so I would ask members to support that particular phrase. Can I just say finally, I mean, I think the consultation absolutely is a crucial part of it. And the fact that Plymouth, to be fair to Plymouth, if I was them, I might have done exactly the same. You know, if I'm really honest about that. And I hope that when they go out to consultation and speak to the parishes, that the parishes will say either yay or nay to them, and they will respect that, as we would. I would say to both Plymouth and indeed the government that if they're serious about reorganisation and doing services for the better of people, then Plymouth should be looking west. It should be looking at Saltash and it should be looking at Tor Point. Just because that's in Cornwall, that should not deter them from making the right decision about delivering the services for local people. And so I would say to them and government, show a bit of leadership here and actually say that if you want to deliver services for the better of their communities, then they should look to the more urban areas of Saltash and Tor Point and leave rural South Hams and the unitary that will follow it alone. So anyway, I'll leave it there, and I hope that you can all support it. I think it's important. You know, it's good if we can be unanimous, but I do understand that there are a few words that you may feel a little bit upset with, but I hope you'll stick with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you're happy with the added words without going two separate votes, I will ask if everybody's happy to take it as one vote. Yeah. Everybody happy with that? Right, so we're all in favour of supporting this motion. That's it. Yeah. Those against?
There's 24 in favour, thank you, Chair. None against.
Amendment?
Don't go there, Chair.
No more amendments. Please, for God's sake.
24 in favour, 1 abstention. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that is supported, Councillor Brazil. So then move on to capital strategy, treasury management strategy and investment strategy. That's item 8. Councillor Bonham. I got Bonham on there.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, I'll start. Now we're getting into the interesting part of the meeting. No, just to say that we have to do this annually. It's a procedural thing that we have to do. These various 3 different policies relate to how much we can borrow, where we invest our money when we've got excess money, and then also how we intend to pay back the borrowings that we do make. I think it's right and proper in a way that Lee was down there, because it's come to the Audit and Governance Committee. They've had a very good and thorough investigation of it and looking at it. So at this point, I will just hand over to Lee. So that he can fill in the details, maybe. Although Lisa very kindly did produce something for me, which I could give to you, Lee, but I'm sure you know it anyway.
Anyway. Thank you. Right, I'll read from the script then, if I may.
You will have your turn, Councillor.
Are required to be presented annually. He's read that bit already. Okay. Right, I won't read that, but I'll touch on it. Okay, so look, there are, as Julian said, these are important, and there's a lot of detail, a lot of figures in there. Maybe I'll just touch on a couple. So the capital spend in 25-26 has been higher, or will be higher than we've had traditionally over previous years, at 12.9 million. And as you can see from the report, the capital spend is for a whole range of things historically, and there's some previous and future spend in leisure, the investment property in Dartmouth, the waste fleet, housing, the industrial units in Salcombe, the harbour depot, the Dartmouth Health and Wellbeing Hub, and the Freeport. Quite a lot of these investments and capital spends do bring in revenue and income to the council. Quite a few of them are funded by grants or by the council's own reserves, and you'll see on page 39 that of the 12.9 million, there's the external sources and our own resources in the projected spend, leaving net financing just around 6 million. So that 6 million is an increase in borrowing, and the borrowing figure goes up to about 19.5 million. But I mean, while that is going up, it should be compared to our investments. As of January 2025, our investments total is about 40 million. So I think one thing we can see from all of this is that the council is very sound and run on a sound financial footing. We have been through all the detail in the Audit and Governance Committee, as Julian said, on the 6th of March, and there's full details there. The policies need to meet a number of prudential indicators, and this looks at the ratios of borrowing to overall income and compares the borrowing to the authorised limit of 40 million. So we're well below that, and the operational boundary of 35 million. So that's the typical expected debt that we should have, and we're obviously well below that. One other thing that we should compare the borrowing to is, or look at it in regards to the overall repayments and interest spends, that is creeping up a little bit. And you'll see in 25-26, the financing costs, the interest and capital repayment on debt and borrowing increases to 1.4 million. So it gets close to around 10% of our net budget requirements. So 10% of our overall spend, basically our net spend of around 14 million. So basically the financing cost is starting to increase in 26-27. It will go above 10%. 27-28, it gets close to 11%. I don't think these figures are worth being particularly concerned about. But there is a note in the papers that suggests that members should be aware of all of that. So just making you all aware. Overall, as I mentioned, I think we are in sound financial health. We've got good reserves and good investment strategy. And I guess I support the recommendation with all of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bonham. Questions, please? Anyone got any questions for Councillor Bonham or Councillor Brazil, of course? No questions? We can then.
Yes. So I'll
yes, please.
I'll propose the recommendations.
Seconder for that? Yeah, Councillor Birch. I introduce the debate. So, who needs to speak?
Well, I won't if I don't need to. I've done my introduction, so unless there are questions, yeah, I'll take that back and read it out. But no, I mean, I'm happy to go to the vote if there are no questions or debate forthcoming.
We go straight to the right. We go straight to the vote on this recommendation, please. All in favour?
That's unanimous, the recommendations. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we move on to pay policy statement. This is where Councillor Brazil gives us all a massive increase in salaries. So I'll hand over to you again, Councillor Brazil.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair.
No,
you're not getting any more money. No, just to say that, I mean, again, this is something that we have to do annually. And you will see that the ratios are pretty much exactly the same as they were before. The ratio between head of paid services and the median has gone up a bit, but the ratio between head of paid services and the lowest has gone down. So it's pretty much all in the round there. And I hope that you'll accept that as is. I should say that if you look at the lowest paid employee of the council, you'll see that for the vast majority, if not all of us, get paid less. We are the cheap labour in the council, but still very much appreciated. Anyway, I'll apart from government who wants to get rid of us all, but there we are. Anyway, I will move the recommendations as they are on the paper.
Thank you very much. Questions?
I'll second.
Oh, you got a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
I've just got a question. Just wondering how we compare on this with other councils, if we know. Anyone can tell me.
Sorry, did you hear that, Andy? You did? Yeah, right. Yeah, okay.
Sorry. I think we're broadly comparable with other authorities. Everybody has to publish their report, so research could be done, but I think we're broadly comparable. The government are worried if the ratio is over 10, and we are comfortably under that. And so I think we are comparable. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Everybody seems to be quite happy with that. Perhaps now we can have a debate if you wish to have a debate. Anyone want to start a debate on this one? Nobody wants to go into debate. So now we can actually go straight to a vote then. Councillor Brazil, do you want to?
Yeah, no, just have to go to vote, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, you're all in favour of this?
That's unanimous for the recommendations. Thank you, Chair.
I thought he might have given me an increase on my 64 pence an hour, but he obviously hasn't. So that's fine. Right, we move now to calendar of meetings. Item 10, Councillor Brazil.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. They are there as published there. You'll notice that the officers have managed to organise it so we don't have any meetings in August. I think it's great. I checked it.
I have.
And well, Guy's checked it, and there aren't any in half.
There is one which Mr. White knows about.
Okay, in half term as well. There was there was a query about, you know, is there any way that we can have, for those of us booking holidays well in advance, you know, is there any way that we could know whether there are going to be meetings coming up? I mean, from you know, do you have a rough idea? I mean, I think that they're pretty similar to year on year, aren't they?
If I can, through you, Chair. This is year 2, if you like, of the DM committee being shifted to a Thursday. So what we did on this draft calendar when we started drafting it up was, as a template, we used very much what was the dates for 24, 25 and tried to, in effect, copy and slot them in. So, for example, if the DM committee was meeting on the 3rd Thursday in September for 24, 25, we tried to do exactly the same principle 25, 26. So we're trying to just, in effect, shift the goal. I mean, I know that's better. So I'd say to anyone looking beyond May 2026, we will try wherever possible to slot, in effect, replicate and slot in the dates for 25, 26. If that helps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No, anybody else got anything to say in debate? No. So we go. Yes, sorry.
Could you circulate the summary, single-page summary round as an individual item? Then we can make sure it's embedded in our calendars.
You know, with that, Darrell? Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Mr. White, you were going to mention that the date for site visits in April next year has changed.
Thank you, Vice Chair. On the screen, members will note there is a subject to on the approval recommendation, and Council panel thankfully pointed out to us that there was an error on the site inspection date for April. So when we are, hopefully, Chair, when you invite recommendation to come forward, it will be. We will be seeking a subject to, in effect, to tweak that date. So thank you, the Vice Chair, for picking that up this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you very much. Seconder. Be all in favour, please. Thank you very, very much.
It's clearly carried. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll move on to item 11, reports of bodies. Development Management Committee, 16th of January 25. Councillor Long to present, please.
Chairman, I'd like to present the minutes of the Development Management Committee of Thursday, the 16th of January 2025 for noting.
Thank you very much. Now we move on to item 11B, which is Lee Bonham. Please, Councillor Bonham, Governance Committee, Audit and Governance.
I'd like to move, Chair, I'd like to move acceptance of the minutes of the Audit and Governance meeting. I think not on the screen. Oh, yes, 6th of March 2025.
Thank you very much. For noting? For noting.
30th of January, thank you. For noting.
Don't think it was the 30th of March. Right, now we move on to overview and scrutiny. This one is being taken by Councillor Penfold.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to present on Thursday, the 6th of February for noting.
Thank you very much. D, Development Management Committee, 20th of February. Councillor Long, please.
Chairman, I'd like to present the minutes of the Development Management Committee of Thursday, the 20th of February 2025 for noting.
Thank you very much. We know E, which is Council Tax Setting Committee. Councillor Brazil.
Thank you. I'd like to move the minutes for noting of the Council Tax Setting Committee, as in the papers.
Thank you very much. Move now to Licensing Committee, 4th of March. Councillor Rake.
Chairman, I'd like to present the minutes of the Licensing Committee meeting of the 4th of March 2025 for noting.
Thank you very much. Now we move on to Executive. Councillor Brazil to present. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I'd like to present the minutes for noting. There is also a recommendation to full council. This is all part of the funding for our council plan, with a number of capital expenditure within that, which totals just over £1 million. And I'll move that recommendation for the council to agree that.
Thank you. I got a question from Councillor Hopwood.
Thank you, Chairman. Unfortunately, I'll have to abstain from this, and you will know the reason why. It's because I think that the balance between the money that's being spent on climate and biodiversity is improportionate to what is being spent on other services. But having said that, I think the council plan is, apart from that, is excellent. And by the end of the 4-year term, we'll be able to see actually what we have achieved. But it's not because I'm against the plan as a whole. It's just that I think there is a disproportion in the money being spent on climate change.
Thank you very much. I need a seconder for Councillor Brazil's proposal, please. Seconded, Councillor Birch. Thank you. That has now been dealt with. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Chair, we need to vote on that one.
We need a vote. All in favour?
That's 20 in favour. Thank you, Chair.
Those against? Abstentions?
Five abstentions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Nearly made a mistake again, Councillor. Motions on notice, 2 motions, but they've been dealt with, I think, haven't they? Oh, we got the last one now, which is Councillor Birch's. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think. It's all right. I thought I'd lost my seconder, but she's appeared. Good. So I'd like to move the motion on the paper.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Seconder. Thank you very much. We can now go into questions on this. Questions?
Shall I present it?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Cheers, John. Yes.
Okay.
Please present your.
Okay. Thank you. This motion opposes the closure of Totnes Castle at weekends during the winter and calls on English Heritage to abandon its proposal to cease winter opening as from the next winter. As I'm sure you will all agree, Totnes is an all year round tourist destination. And this is why, a short while ago, we as a council persuaded the Caravan Club to open all year round the site of Steamer Quay in Totnes. This has proved to be a great success and has brought extra visitors to the town during the winter season. And then visiting Totnes, invariably they head for the castle. It's clearly one of the top items on the visitors list for Totnes. And on top of that, there are plenty of local people who enjoy taking their own weekend winter visitors to the castle, as it's such a great place to climb up to the top of the walls and marvel at the spectacular view of Totnes. The proposed closure will have a detrimental effect on the local economy, and this is one of the several reasons for opposing the closure. And it could well reduce our visitor numbers. So closing the castle permanently for the winter months will compromise the integrity of the building. There will be no staff checking on maintenance problems, and the threat of vandalism will increase without a regular weekly presence there to act as a deterrent. The Totnes Town Council has made representation to English Heritage against the proposed winter weekend closure, and I understand that a meeting is to be held between the Totnes Town Council and English Heritage. I think it is important that we are part of those discussions, and thus this is one of the reasons for the need for this motion, which I hope you will all support. Thank you.
Councillor Birch. Councillor Presswell, would you like to speak now or reserve the right for the debate?
Thank you, Chair. I can just add a little to that. Yes, there is a really deep concern regarding this recent announcement to close Totnes Castle during the winter weekends. It is a challenging financial landscape, but the castle is completely integral to life in Totnes. Not only walking around the grounds, but meditating, exercising, or simply enjoying the landscape. And even during the winter, it's relatively busy, and it's a place of quiet reflection and recreation for residents. Yes, the Caravan Club is open all year round, and it would seem very short-sighted if the castle wasn't given the opportunity to inspire them, as it always has done. There are many negative consequences of this, potentially deterring visitors, reducing foot traffic, and the economic benefit to English Heritage is questionable. Minimal savings, we believe, from closing the site just at weekends over the winter. There will need to be ongoing security checks and maintenance inspections. And it's our understanding that during the winter, the site breaks even or even generates a modest profit. So the financial pressure is recognised, but closing Totnes Castle is neither economically prudent, really, nor in the best interests of the town or its residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would you like to take us into debate, Councillor? Yes, we can now move into debate. That's right. Who wants to start this? Councillor Rake.
Thank you, Chair. Normally, I'd be quite cautious about interfering in how we interfere in the affairs of an independent charity or limited company or whatever it might be. On this occasion, though, I'm throwing that caution to the wind because English Heritage own it in trust for all of us, and I think that we therefore have a right to comment on this decision, and I think that the comment that is being made, that we deplore it, is absolutely right. I think I know that Mott and Bailey were pretty much the first words both my children learnt, and as we dragged them endlessly around Totnes Castle, and I think that restricting access to it in this way is certainly doesn't sound completely necessary and would be highly regrettable. So I wholeheartedly support this motion.
Thank you very much. Any other person who wishes to speak in the debate? Julian, sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I support this, and I thank John and Anna for bringing it. I think if we are trying to extend the tourism season within the South Hams, then this is exactly the kind of attraction that we need to have. I was also a bit taken by. I didn't realise that Totnes had never been invaded or besieged. I think that may change. We may see Tudor marching on us from Plymouth, and we should be wary that actually the castle may well actually be ready. Good to see that. We'll definitely need the castle. But anyway, no. So I fully support this, and I hope other members will. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Councillor Birch, would you like to? Right. So can we go straight to the vote now, please, on this motion? Do we need to go through this, please?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, just straight into the vote. All in favour? I said that as if I told them to go all in favour.
That's 24 in favour, thank you, Chair.
Any against?
None against, Chair.
Any abstentions?
Yep. And one abstention. Thank you, Chair.
I'm a member.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Well, that actually concludes the meeting, apart from a few words from me, and there'll be very few.
Where's our lunch?
Here, look. Your lunch is well taken care of. It's inside of me. Lovely. Thank you very much. Anyway, the next full council meeting obviously is on the 15th of May, which is when you actually choose all your would-be people. And the other thing is, I would like to thank everyone for their support last Friday night when I held my charity, which was a bingo, believe it or not, and we ended up with £2,166 profit. So I think to date there's just over 3,000 in the kitty for the charity. So, but anybody that didn't come or couldn't come or wishes to make a donation, then my pocket is always there. But thank you very much indeed for your attendance, and I hope as many of you can stay behind, because in the Carey and the Reptum we're now going to do the presentation of the awards, the council awards for people that have been working hard in the parishes and volunteering. It's a community champions award. Yeah. And there's a lady from your end coming up. She's 90 odd, isn't she? Sorry? A lady from your corner coming. She's 90. Well, anyway, we sat over 70 applications one afternoon, about 3 of us, I think, one councillor, and it's fantastic. But they're all waiting for us now in there, and we give them something to eat and a piece of cake. And if you're lucky, you might get a.
Don't let Steve Logan get there first.
Hold him back. Hold him back.
Does anyone support well on anything?
Yes.
Oh, so I'll have to go in there.